Hello my friends, welcome to my channel. So in today's video, we're going to be talking about 5 reasons why caring what other people think about you is hiding your intuitive gifts. So if this sounds like your bag, like and subscribe to the channel, and it's lovely to have you here. So let's get into these 5 reasons. First and foremost, before we get into 5 ways in which actually caring all of the time what other people are thinking about your life, the way you say things, your self-expression, what you wear, who you are, what you look like, your truth, your authentic essence, your authentic nature. When we start to care about what other people think about our authentic nature, our intuitive gifts, which we all have, they're given from God, are squashed and we hide them. And I'm going to give 5 main reasons why we do this and why actually just letting go of the opinions of others, easier said than done, is really one of the main things that allows us to, number one, be ourselves. And our intuitive gifts, they align with us when we are truthful with ourselves, when we listen to ourselves, when we allow ourselves to feel our genuine feelings, when we tune into what it is that we actually believe, who it is we really are from the depth of our being, instead of all of these different influences actually affecting that truth. So let's get into the 5 things. The first thing that happens when we start to worry so much about what other people think about us and let that shape our life is we start to outsource our inner knowing. I've written these 5 things down just in case I forget them because there's many more things, but these are probably the 5 main ones that I wanted to talk about. So outsourcing your inner knowing. When we care so much about what other people think about us and the way in which we live our life and our authentic expression, what we do is we hide that inner knowing, that inner wisdom, that inner truth, because we don't feel like it's going to be validated by somebody else. We go, what if they don't like what I say? What if they judge what I say? What if they think that what I'm saying is fraudulent, or it's not worthy, or I say something wrong? All of these different things, or the life that I'm living is, in their opinion, not right, or, all of this stuff that we carry, which isn't actually ours, it's just this field of other people's opinions that we've allowed ourselves to hold. When we care so much about other people's opinions, we outsource that inner knowing, because instead of listening to ourselves and expressing ourselves, we go, I'm not to be trusted, because more than once and many times in the past, when I have been authentic, it's been shut down, it's been persecuted, it's been told that it's not right, it's wrong. All the opinions of others, all the judgments of others have told me I shouldn't trust that part of myself. And this comes from society. It comes from varying different ways in which the world has taught us to be. And it's not our truth. And so when we listen to the opinions of others, instead of actually listening to our own inner wisdom and going, do I actually believe that? Is that how I really want to live my life? Is that what I'd say? Then what we do is we hide that inner knowing and we outsource our wisdom to others. So we start to go, that authority knows, that authority knows, that person, those people, that community, the world knows, and only I don't. Yeah, so we start to lose trust in ourselves. That's the first point. Maybe you can relate to it. The second point, the second reason we start to lose sense of our intuitive gifts when we continuously care about other people's opinions is that we tend to shapeshift in order to survive. And what does that mean? We people please instead of actually align our life to our truth, to our heart's calling, to what our soul wants. right? So we shape shift our soul's desires in order to respond to the opinions of others. And we do that by going along our merry way, going along our soul's path. Oh, I really fancy doing this. Hey, so-and-so. Hey, group of friends. Hey, general public. I'm going to do this. And that's not a very good idea. What if this happens? What if that happens? Well, I had a friend that did that and it all went wrong. So when you start to tell the world your plans that are coming from the depth of your desires in your heart, everybody's going to have an opinion on it. Everybody's going to have a collective opinion on why that will not work. Oh, there she goes again, dreaming. There she goes again with her vivid imagination. You've probably heard it, right? And guess what that does? It makes us go, maybe they've got a point. But you knew in the first place that your soul had a really strong desire because you felt it, you know it. When you know something, you feel it, and you feel it from your bones. And then all of those opinions of others cloud that bone vision, suppress your intuitive knowing, cloud your path, and you listen to it because already you haven't trusted yourself because you've outsourced your inner knowing. So you shape shift and you go, okay, maybe that path is not for me. I'm going to go down the path of, what somebody said might be right for me at some point, right? So we shape shift, we people please, we shape shift, we hide our truth in order to be accepted by others. So that's something that happens. And what happens when we do this? And we do it. Look, if you're listening to this and thinking, oh no, that's me, you're not alone. We all do it in varying different degrees. And that's why it's important to recognize these patterns so we can tap back into the soul. And when we start to do this, when we start to shape shift to survive those collective opinions in the world, we suffocate our soul's desires. And you might notice things like feeling spiritually starved, feeling like you're misaligned to your path, feeling like you're misaligned to some sort of purpose, which is your soul feeling like it's purposefully moving through life to its truth. Yeah, that's more what purpose means. Being truthful with oneself. And when we shape shift, we disconnect from the soul's voice. And it can make us feel fatigued and misaligned, and we overthink, we go into the mind and we stop listening to the heart space. And number 3, when we take other people's opinions on board and we give so much of a fuck what other people think about us, instead of listening to ourselves, we've completely clouded that self, that inner voice out. And it's the noise of the world has become our inner dialogue, right? And what happens when we do that, which is number 3, is we dull our energy field. We dull our energy field. Everything at its core is energy, right? And when we start to cover our abundant, beautiful, bountiful, soulful energy, our joy, with everybody else's clutter, everybody else's naysaying, everybody else's doubt, what we do is we suppress that bountiful energy and we become more fatigued and we dull out that inner sparkle. You probably know what I'm talking about. Look, I'm speaking about this from experience because I'm a human and I'm speaking to another human. Maybe I am. It could be AI nowadays, you never know. I'm speaking to another human and we all have these very similar patterns that we go through. So our energy gets a hit. Our chakras, the main energy portals in the body, which receive life's information, energy, and that can come in varying different forms, aka opinions of others. It clouds our energy, it clutters our energy. We hold it like unprocessed baggage that clutters this free flow of energy in the body. So we don't feel abundant anymore. We feel clouded, we feel lost, we feel stuck, we feel disconnected, when essentially we just haven't listened to our truth. Okay? Number 4, we lose trust in our soul's voice. What is our soul's voice? Sometimes it's very hard to hear, right? The world is very noisy. Our mind is very noisy. We are attached to our thoughts. In psychology, we call this cognitive fusion, where we've become very absorbed with our thoughts. And sometimes we believe all the thoughts and we can't see the space between the true us, our truest essence, our soul, and the thoughts of the mind. We've become fused with them. When we start to work with what we might call cognitive diffusion, which is the space between the thoughts and the soul and the true self, the true essence, we find a little bit of space. When we find that space between our soul and our thoughts, between our soul and the noise that's happening around us in the world, between our soul, our truth, and other people's opinions, when we find the space and we start to listen to ourselves, we start to hear more of what our soul has to say, right? Because we've actually gone inward. We've given ourselves a bit of space, a bit of stillness from the outside noise. And we start to listen again to our soul. And the soul is a very all-knowing teacher. It holds innate wisdom, wisdom that cannot be found in any book, any course, any teaching that you will find in this material world. The soul is lifetimes, infinite amounts of wisdom in your system, waiting for you to tap into. It's already yours. But instead what we do is we listen to everybody else's opinion, and they tell us we can't do this, and they tell us we can't do that, and they tell us not to trust X, Y, and Z. And it really dampens our dreams. And our soul knows exactly where it's going. It knows what we really want. It knows who we really are. It knows our truth. It takes us in the right direction. It's like a little antennae that's moving us through the world. But we just go, no, you are not to be trusted, because somebody said, that dream is too much. Understand what I mean by that? So when we start to take on everybody else's opinions on board, and we give so much of a fuck what other people think about our truth and our life and who we are and our self-expression, then we lose trust in our inner voice. And really part of the things that I absolutely love to teach, because I teach Kundalini yoga and it taps you back into your inner voice. That's one of the main things that it's doing. It allows you to feel like you're coming back home to yourself because of the varying different tools and techniques that we work with: breath, movement, sound, mudra, hand gestures, drishti, eye gaze, meditation, different forms of focus that bring us into the present moment, that remind us of our essence, the true essence beneath the noise. Yeah. When we start to tap into this, things shift, things change. And the final of the 5 things that I wanted to share with you today, and this is quite a big one. I find this is one of the most challenging reasons, and it's a big one. So the 5th reason why giving a fuck what other people think about you is covering and hiding your intuitive gifts is because people's opinions are intellectualized. Opinions come from the mind. They're cognitive, yeah? They're more logic-based, if that makes sense. When we have an opinion, it's coming from the mental state, from our memory bank of doing things through our life, right? Opinions are not facts. Yeah, my opinions are not facts. Your opinions are not facts. Nobody's opinions are facts. So when we start to listen to other people's opinions and take them as gospel and take them as facts, yeah, what we've done is we've sent all of our energy into the mind, into the cognitive space, and we've started to over-intellectualize something that can only be felt. Our intuitive gifts, yeah, our spider senses, our 6 senses, our ability to be able to feel a gut feeling, our ability to be able to hear messages intuitively, our ability to be able to see beyond the veil of perception, our ability to be able to just know something without anybody having to validate it, without any authority having to prove it, without any science having to do a little test about it. We just know because God gave us those senses. Before we had things to measure energy, and before we had, things to measure weather systems or whatever, our ancestors used their intuition, used their heightened senses to be able to navigate the experience of life. They'd know when it was going to rain, they'd They'd predict when it was going to be sunny so that they could sort out the crops or whatever. They would listen to the earth. They would feel their way around things. They would tap into knowing whether something was safe or not, because they would understand it from a more intuitive space. Now, when we listen to other people's opinions and we take them as gospel and we care so much about what they think about us, what we do is we are clouding our feeling senses with over-intellectualization. And so we go, oh, my gut feeling can't be right because it's not logical. How can something be logical when it's only meant to be felt? So we're really starting to understand how to tap back into our God-given intuitive gifts is to recognize that these gifts are not logical. They're not meant to be logical. The mind is meant to be logical. Our intuitive, energetic senses are not meant to be logical. They're meant to be sensory, in the sense of they are gifts given through feeling vibrational modes, through energy, through touch, through moving through life with these more metaphysical antennae, the subtle realms of existence, not logic, right? So when we try and over-explain our intuitive gifts to feed somebody else's opinion and expectation of how we're meant to be moving through life, what we're doing is we're going, my intuitive gift can't be explained, so I'm just going to cover it up and talk about something logical instead, because that's going to people please everybody, right? Hopefully you know what I mean by that. And if you are going through a time in your life right now, which many of us are, where we are awakening to all the truth and our soul body, that infinite space inside of us, and we are releasing some of these old patterns that we've held where we feel like we've had to actually prove our wisdom. If you're going through that growth at the moment and you're coming back into that understanding of life in a more spiritual sense, then you're not alone. So take those 5 things and remember, you don't have to prove yourself to anybody. We don't have to prove our gifts exist. That's not what they're there for. The whole proving that something exists and the whole needing to please somebody else's opinion and the whole I can't be myself because X, Y, Z person doesn't like who I am is putting a huge, huge restraint in our abundant energy, our ability to be ourselves. And so just starting to recognize tiny little bits in our day where we are actually not allowing ourselves to be ourselves because we're scared of what other people think is a tiny bit of healing towards coming back to your true essence, your true nature. I hope you enjoy this video today. Don't forget to smash the like and subscribe button, just because, yeah, I'd like it. Have a good day. Ciao. Hi guys, thanks for watching that video with me. Don't forget to like and subscribe, it means the world to me. If you would like to watch any more videos, there's 2 here just for you.